Don't you love those technical difficulties? Thanks for joining us tonight. Look, today is going to be a bit of a ramble because this is a subject that's a little bit overwhelming for me and I don't know which way to go with it. There's been some fairly large changes mooted for the National Disability Insurance Scheme, one of the biggest of which is called independent assessments. And I'm not sure how I feel about them, or actually I am fairly sure how I feel about them, but there are some people that are telling me that I'm wrong in what I'm thinking. I don't know what's right or wrong, but I can only give you my concerns. I was at a breakfast this morning talking to a lady who said to me she'd been involved with the NDIA and the NDIS from very early on, and she said it's unsustainable in its current form and it was never supposed to be a welfare system. I still don't think it is a welfare system the way they're running it now, but I've spoken to some people that I do respect that are saying that the independent assessments are the way to go. But I do have some concerns. I want to talk about them in brief tonight, and then perhaps we can look at them in more detail over the coming weeks. Linda Reynolds is the Senator is the new Minister for the National Disability Insurance Scheme under the Morrison government. And she's fairly new to the job. And when she came in, she said, look, I'm going to look at the legislation because a lot of people are upset about it. She said very quickly that she would take a pause, and she said we would proceed. I'm going to be doing some reading. I hope that's okay. We wouldn't proceed with the legislation at the moment. We'll wait and see, she said. MPs across the political spectrum say Linda Reynolds must restore trust in its governing body, the National Disability Insurance Agency, if she wants the support to bring changes to the assessments, the independent assessments. One of the fundamental issues at the moment with the agency is a total lack of trust between the participants and the agency, Liberal Senator Holly Hughes told the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. And we'll talk about Senator Hughes a little bit later on because she has a son with autism. So we'll have a bit of a chat to her at the moment. One of the things that's come out is that there was a secret government document linked in which the government said, look, we need to be seen to be listening. But how it came across to me is we don't actually need to listen. We just need to be seen to be listening. And then I started to look, and throughout this whole pause in the implementations of the scheme, I've discovered that people have still been being employed and given the positions to do the assessments. Now, if it was truly a pause, surely they would suspend the employing of people to positions in the independent assessments. So you would begin to wonder whether or not it's a true pause, or, like the document was saying, perhaps just a way to appear to be making people feel like they're listening. And if I can go down here, Australian Greens disability spokesman Jordan Steele John said the disability community has been clear from the beginning of the trial process independent assessments will not work for them. The opposition NDIS spokesman Bill Shorten, who has been involved in the disability field for many, many years, and I believe genuinely, party politics aside, has a genuine concern and care for people with disabilities. What he said is the leaked documents expose the plan to dupe people with disabilities and steamroll through the controversial changes while faking consultation. The documents make it clear current consultation with NDIS participants and stakeholders is nothing but a sham. Minister Reynolds has made up her mind what changes she wants to push through, despite telling participants and the sector she will listen to their concerns. And when Bill Shorten says that, I am worried because I genuinely do believe he does seem to care about people with disabilities. Now, there's also been reports of some extremely controversial results in the trialling of the independent assessments. And to bring one up, 9-year-old Elisa Tape, who took part in a trial of the controversial disability assessment scheme, it's left her family worried. Eliza Tape, who lives with physical and intellectual disabilities, had an NDIS trial assessment that found she doesn't have any mobility issues. Interestingly enough, though, she uses a wheelchair and has brittle bone disease, so I'm not quite sure how that works. I'm just looking a little bit more about it here. They said they became involved out of curiosity in the scheme to see how it would work, but the family said they were very concerned and very worried at the results. They took a very long time to get the results back when they asked, 16 weeks for a copy of the report, and they said it says she doesn't have any mobility issues, and this is a child with brittle bones who uses a wheelchair. I'm not quite sure, the mother said, how they arrived at that conclusion. The 5-page participant interaction notes included a question: does the participant have any concerns with mobility? And the listed response from the NDIA was no. The response was baffling to Tape, given the previous question notes Eliza uses a manual wheelchair, while other reports generated from the assessment also referred to Eliza's mobility issues. So it seems to me like, and that's just one, there have been many, many people that have come out and have had a look at their assessments after they've been trialled and said they were just totally inaccurate. Senator Holly Hughes, who is a Liberal senator with a son with autism, said she's added her voice to the growing criticism over independent assessments. The Liberal senator has urged her own party to take a look at providers rather than participants to cut down the costs. She said, let's get rid of the fraud, let's get rid of the people that are using the funding wrongly, and still give the participants what they want. Ms. Hughes says the changes to the assessments are invasive and inappropriate. Holly Hughes, whose 11-year-old son Fred has autism, told RN Breakfast on Monday the changes would put allied health professionals, some with no knowledge of the particular condition a client has, in charge of assessing funding needs. Quite frankly, my senior behavioural therapist, who's been with us for over 10 years, has a much better idea of what Fred can and can't do than a speech therapist who has never known anyone with autism before, Senator Hughes said. So there's some of the concerns, and I've been sort of wondering myself, I know that the NDIS costs an awful lot of money to the taxpayers and to the government in general, and I've said that I even feel guilt over that. But it's interesting when you look at some of the numbers of people employed by the NDIS, just how much it also puts back into the economy, and then those people spend that money and things go round and round. And as we've noted during COVID, the government is all about getting the money moving, employment up and money moving. Next week, we'll take a look at some of the incredible numbers of figures of money just coming into my local area from the NDIS. And all that money is going to people who are being employed. They're spending it in the local community. So when you look at the cost of the NDIS, you can't just take a blank cost and go, that's what it's costing. Let's take a look at what it's putting back into the community. Let's take a look at all the pluses it's giving people with disabilities, all the jobs it's giving people that didn't have jobs before, all the revenue it's giving providers, and even just cafes and restaurants, as people with disabilities are able to go out with the help of support staff. It's not just costing money, it's making money in the community. It is getting that currency going around and around and giving a lot back to the community. I think far too often they talk about the cost of it without explaining some of the incredible benefits to the economy that the NDIS has as well. Look, there's a lot more talking to do about it. I don't know what's right or wrong. I just know that the idea of independent assessments scares the heck out of me. I'm very grateful for the NDIS. I love the people that support me now. My support coordinator, my therapists, my occupational therapists, everybody. They have been so marvellous to me. They've made me happy. They've changed my life. They've made me feel secure. I just don't know that I'm happy for it to change as radically as what the government wanted to. And as I said, personally myself, I hope that these independent assessments are withdrawn. That's how I feel at the moment. If I am not looking at it right, if you've got an opinion that you'd like to share with me to help me understand the other side of the spectrum, I'm very willing to listen and I'm very willing to learn. So please just drop me an email at rod@accessibleglobetv@gmail.com or rod@accessibleglobe.tv. Either one will get through to me. Let's just thank some of the people who have been supporting us in our local area. There's IOMI. They do automation in housing for people with disability, opening doors, opening windows, turning on and off lights, specialising in houses for people with dementia, with special guiding lights at night, all sorts of things. We've got Hello World Travel, who are feeling it really a lot at the moment during this pandemic, but they helped us put together some fantastic travel for people with all sorts of mobility impairments and different disabilities and elderly, and they've been fantastic in helping us get really wonderful vacations out to people, taking them to Thailand and Asia and all over the place. So they've been great. Totally Mobile in town, they sell scooters and all sorts of mobility equipment, and they go the extra mile as well. And of course, my friends at Simple Solution, they do training for people. If you want to get involved in this wonderful world of individual support care or whatever, give them a call. Anywhere in Australia, give them a call. You can do it online. They're fantastic, and they really don't just do it for the money. They really care about their staff and their participants. So I think I've covered them all. Yes, Carl, thank you for putting that up and reminding me. A lot of you are watching on Facebook, and we love that, and we're grateful. But we need people also to subscribe to our YouTube. We haven't got many on our YouTube, and we really need it. It will really help us get our messages out to the world. Thanks very much for listening today. As I said, it's a very interesting subject. Take care, and we'll see you next time on The Spin and 5 Minute Reflection.